Marissa, and I'm here with my co-host Dystro. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody's having a good week. Um, as promised, tonight I figured the debate hour. Dun dun dun.
Debate hour.
So this is to continue Van Halen month. I don't know why we're calling it Van Halen month. I guess we'll call it Van Halen month. Hell with just like how we did Fall Out Boy week not too long ago. So if you guys have not seen Let's Talk Van Halen, head on over and watch that. Because you're gonna want to know everything about Van Halen before we get started. So if you guys may want to pause the video, go ahead and listen to Let's Talk Van Halen, which was uploaded this past Thursday. So go ahead and take a listen to that. By the way, I hope everybody's doing all right. I've been having a pretty good summer so far, with the fair and stuff like that. It's been pretty busy. I guess I could say it's been really hot, a little muggy, but yeah. I hope everybody's hanging in there. I'm glad everybody's here tonight. So debate hour. Dun, dun, dun.
Debate hour.
Now this is probably a really bad debate to do, considering what makes Van Halen. Van Halen is usually Eddie Van Halen because he is the most iconic guitar player of all time. Everybody's got to admit that. But tonight I figured let's shake things up a bit and take it from a different point of view. Let's go to the vocalist perspective and do David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar. Now, disclaimer, we're not including Gary Cherone from Extreme because he wasn't in Van Halen very long and he didn't really produce any hits that stood out to anybody, in my opinion. Not to me anyways. Like, I tried listening to one Van Halen song that had Gary Cherone in it, and I could not. I couldn't finish it. I'm like, nope, I can't. It's just not Van Halen,
This
So
doesn't
that's
feel
why
the same.
we're only, yeah, I know. So that's why we're only going to include David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar in this episode, because they are the two main singers that everybody knows that was in Van Halen. Now, let's start with David. So obviously, like what we're going to do with every debate hour episode, we take the two or three even, three or two competitors. We talk about each of them, and we kind of decide at the end who we prefer over the other, just like we did with the McFoley one not too long ago. So let's start with David Lee Roth. So as you guys may remember in the Let's Talk episode, I'd mentioned that David had joined way back in 1972, right from the formation stage. Eddie and Alex were looking for a lead singer to join their band, and David Lee Roth came around. And it was like magic right there. He brought loads of energy to the stage and to the band in general. He was more like a hype vocalist. Like, he had the moves. Like, he had, like, the dancing moves. He had just that hype energy. He was just a one-of-a-kind vocalist. He definitely brought a lot of energy to the band, which obviously makes your fans a little more excited to go to the concerts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
To many folks, David is the vocalist that makes Van Halen. We're not talking like what makes Van Halen as a whole. We're talking in the vocalist point of view. He is the vocalist for Van Halen. Like, for a lot of people, nobody can replace David. He produced a lot of more groovy rock sounding songs up until 1984 when synth was added to the song Jump. That started a whole new wave of Van Halen. When David was in the band, they produced many hits, such as Ain't Talking About Love, Running with the Devil, and of course Jump, like I mentioned, as well as Hot for Teacher, Eruption, and then they did their cover of You Really Got Me, which I actually like that song. I haven't heard it in a while. So, for me, I grew up more with the Sammy stuff, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I do listen to a lot of the David stuff nowadays as well. And I gotta admit, David is, like, iconic. Like, you cannot forget about David Lee Roth with Van Halen. Now, if we want to talk in the solo project point of view, David Lee Roth started a solo project a little while he was still in Van Halen, but once he left, he really focused on his solo project. Came out with the album Yankee Rose and did, like, a whole bunch of cover songs like California Girls and stuff like that. There was a lot of good songs that he produced as a solo artist, and that I listen to up to this day. Yankee Rose being one of my favorites. And then you have Sammy Hagar. Now, Sammy Hagar was a solo artist before he joined Van Halen. He also was a lead singer in another group, which I'm going to look up right now. Um, but yeah, Sammy was a solo singer for quite some time. Oh my god, he used to be a lead singer for the group Montrose or something like that in the 1970s. And then obviously he launched a successful solo career. Oh my god, my words are like mixed all together
Social
here.
career.
I am tired. Bear with me. Produced a hit such as "I Can't Drive 55," which I think everybody should know that song by now. Which came out in 1984, and "There's Only One Way to Rock," which is one of my favorite Sammy Hagar songs of all time from his solo career. And then Three Lock Box came out as well back in that time. And then once 1985 hit, he joined Van Halen, replacing David Lee Roth. Now, this caused a bit of a shakeup for the band because it was a whole different era of Van Halen that we hadn't seen before. There was a lot more synth happening, not so much Eddie Van Halen playing guitar anymore. A lot of keyboard action was happening with Eddie Van Halen, which a lot of fans were not happy to see because we're all used to Eddie Van Halen, being up there on stage in the lead guitar. Um, and the thing is, the difference between David and Sammy, David doesn't play guitar. Sammy does. Sammy continued to play guitar for Van Halen. So I guess in a way he kind of took over the lead guitar position. In a way, in my opinion. Because like I said, after that, Eddie Van Halen kind of switched to keyboard. Um, so that was kind of a bit of a shakeup for a lot of Van Halen fans, which caused a little bit of a change in direction for these Van Halen fans. Some of these fans decided to leave the Van Halen train, we'll call it. And some of them decided to stick around because they actually liked the new stuff. For me, I actually like the Sammy Hagar era. Why Can't This Be Love, Can't Stop Loving You, and Dreams are three of the hits that they had produced while Sammy was still in the band. The songs are mainly about love. They're more love songs than anything, a good majority of them, anyways. Um, excuse me. Like I said, it's a completely different Van Halen sound than what we are used to, but still has a relatively similar sound. It's just not 100% the exact same as the OG lineup when David was still with us. Um, like I said, many folks turned away from Van Halen when Sammy came along. But, you know, sometimes change has to happen. You can't prevent it from happening. Sometimes it has to happen in order for life to continue. And that's kind of what Van Halen needed to do. They needed a new lead singer because David had left and pursued his solo career. Um, so they brought Sammy in. Was it a good choice? That's for you guys to decide in the comments. Are you guys a David Lee Roth fan or a Sammy Hagar fan at the end of the day? Now, before we get to the results, I guess you could say, just a fair disclaimer. I'm not trying to say that these two guys are what made Van Halen. Once again, Eddie Van Halen is what made Van Halen. I mean, if it wasn't for the Van Halen brothers, we wouldn't have had this amazing rock group that has paved the way for many generations to come. I was born in '02, and this group came out in 1972. That's like what? Fucking 30 years later?
30 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's 30 years later. And I grew up with this stuff. I was raised around this kind of era of music. And it's just like, I know how people are always bashing others for comparing Sammy and David when we should really be focusing. I get that. But you also need to look at bands, not just from like the lead guitarist point of view, but you also need to look at it from the vocalist, because the vocalist also has a pretty big role in a group to play as well. I'm not trying to downgrade Eddie Van Halen at all, let alone any lead guitarist. I'm just doing this for the video. I'm doing it for the debate hour. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, because there are two different eras of Van Halen, like I just mentioned, the David Lee Roth era and the Sammy Hagar era. Both are two completely different eras with some similar sounds, but not 100% similar, like, completely. If you get what I'm saying, I'm trying to word things right.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about that. Like, there's some people that have loved David Lee Roth for like a long time, but then they just don't really hadn't got it into Sammy as, the front man for like a long time. But then there's some people that have grown up with Sammy Hagar and they haven't listened to David Lee Roth as the front man. So like there's gonna be some polarizing sides to this debate hour, which I mean, everybody has their own opinion, everybody has their own front man that they love and all that stuff like that, and like we're just picking who we liked at the time, and like I mean I mean at the end of the day, everybody's opinion matters, and everybody should just stick to their own opinions. So
Right. Um, at the end of the day, it really comes down to which you prefer. Do you prefer more of like a mellow kind of love sounding kind of music from Van Halen, or do you prefer the classic Van Halen sound? Less synth, more guitar, more raw vocals, that kind of thing. Um, I guess we could come up with a decision now. Alright, Dystro, here is the question of the night. Who do you prefer? David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
now I am going to go with David Lee Roth here only because I had not listened to any of this. I haven't listened to any of the Van Halen stuff with Sammy Hagar yet. I have not listened to it. My opinion might change by the time I listen to any of that stuff. But for now, like I've always known David Lee Roth as the lead vocalist and stuff like that. He brings a lot of charisma to like every lyric that he does, like the music videos and stuff like that, like the concerts. Like I've seen him like not live in concert, but like I've seen videos of him in concert, and he's just like moving around and
He's
jiving to every song.
energetic, like
Yeah,
very energetic.
he's like a feral cat. If we're using animal terms here, like he's just very energetic, and I like that. But it's like not a lot of people can't understand that. And like with Sammy and stuff, that's like yeah, he could be energetic in his own way, but it's just like I just don't think that I think my personal opinion, like I don't think he could be that charisma and stuff like that. I mean, tell me how I am wrong in the comments probably, but it's just like my personal opinion. I love David Roth more than Sammy Hagar. So
Right. Now, I have listened to both singers. I grew up around David. I grew up around Sammy. My dad prefers the David Lee Roth era over Sammy. I don't know why. I guess my dad's not into the stuff. However, I am gonna have to go with Sammy Hagar on this one because number one, based off of my playlist, I listen to a lot more of the Sammy Hagar stuff. A lot of the songs by Van Halen I have on my phone are from the Sammy Hagar era. I also have 5150 in my room. So, and I love that album to death. It's like a top 5 album for me. It's fucking amazing. Um, but yeah, I actually like the mellow stuff. I like love songs, here and there. Um, plus Sammy's just a really cool guy. I've watched a lot of his rock and roll road trip episodes on TV on Access TV, where he talks to these up and coming rock and roll stars like Chris Daughtry, for example, and he talked to the lead singer of Train in one episode, and he's just a really all around amazing guy. And obviously, I shouldn't go off of that. I need to go off of the music point of view, but I just wanted to put that out there. Um, I love his music style. I love his solo stuff too. I listen to a lot of his solo stuff. He's just a really cool guy and just a talented musician. He's called the Red Rocker for a reason. And he looks good for his age. He's in his 70s, but he doesn't look it. And that's odd. Like, he does not look like he's in his 70s at all. Looks like he's in his 50s. And that's cool. Um, I can definitely say, though, that, yes, I do love the David Lee Roth era. It kind of is what put Van Halen on the maps, put him on the Billboard charts and stuff like that. And honestly, if I was born back then, I think once David left, I'd still be sticking around on the Van Halen train with Sammy Hagar. Because Sammy has produced some good shit, and I actually do like his music. Not just in Van Halen, but like in his solo career too. He's just all around cool dude.
We are total polar opposites on this one.
And my favorite Van Halen song of all time is Best of Both Worlds, which is my dad's least favorite Van Halen song. I love that song. I like the music video too. It's a live performance in the music video and it's dubbed over, but it's fucking cool. I like it. But yeah, we are polar opposites tonight. That's kind of weird. Usually we kind of think the same for debate hour, but tonight we're kind of going separate ways.
Like, before we even did this episode, like way, way before we ever did this, like Van Halen thing, like I knew like from the get-go, like when you had said about we should do a debate hour versus like for David versus Sammy, I was like, well, I'm gonna obviously go David Lee Roth, and I was like, and I knew you were gonna obviously go with Sammy because you knew a lot more of his uh song style and all that stuff too. So it's like I kind of figured that in my head, but you know, I mean, to everybody's opinion. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. So,
So what do you guys think? Who do you guys pick? Who do you guys prefer more? Do you guys prefer David? Or do you guys prefer Sammy? Let me know in the comments below. We can have a little discussion about this. That could be a little heated little discussion.
oh boy,
Oh boy. Anyways, so that is going to wrap up debate hour.
the debate hour.
We need to like come up. We have like two different fucking sound effects here. We need to settle on one. Oh man. All right. So this Sunday coming up, we are gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna go back to AC/DC for a little bit. We're going to list off our top 10 AC/DC songs of all time. This is going to be one of the most difficult episodes we have ever done on this show because there are so many AC/DC songs out there, let alone albums, dating from back in the 70s all the way up to 2020 when they released Power Up.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough.
This is going to be bad.
It's gonna hurt too because it's like so many songs that, well, obviously you've listened to and stuff like that, but it's like me, like I have like a select few of songs that I've always listened to, and it's just I just never listened to all of the AC/DC songs. Like, I mean, I've probably heard some like here and there, but it's like just not the very well known songs.
And there's
Like,
some like really good like hidden AC/DC songs that didn't really make
yeah,
like the two albums that never really hit the charts were Fly on the Wall and Flick of the Switch. Flick of the Switch I'm not crazy for, but Fly on the Wall was a good album. It should have hit the charts, but unfortunately just poor production at the time. So Fly on the Wall never made it to the charts, but their lead single, Fly on the Wall, is really good. I recommend you listen to that Dystro, by the way, before we do this episode for Sunday. Fly on the Wall is really good. It's not going to be in my top 10, though, I don't think, because I haven't had the time to really listen to it enough. But there are so fucking many AC/DC songs, so this is going to be a challenge. I don't know what's gonna hurt more, this or the fact that we did the Billy Talent one. Like the Billy Talent one hurt me too, cause like fuck, I love all the songs. And since we've done the Billy Talent one, I've found more Billy Talent songs.
oh brother.
So like that's like a problem. Like I don't know. Like I feel like in like a year we're gonna have to like do an updated version of these videos.
It just goes, I have a problem.
But seriously, I think what we could do is like a year, like from the time we upload these top 10 or top 5 lists, like a year from then, we could do like an updated version, like top 10 Billy Talent songs,
Updated
updated
it.
as of 2023 or something, and
Yeah,
then we can look back on our top 10 list from the year before, and compare it to what our top 10 list would be in present time. Yeah.
because like I know like 4 months from now it'll be a whole year since we started the podcast. So like we have that kind of like in January, which that's a huge milestone. Like we've been doing this for a year in itself. So it's like, and the people that have stuck along on this ride, like, we do really appreciate it,
Yes.
and we cannot thank you guys enough for being on this ride with us, like for our high times, low times, our middle times, and all this stuff, like going from Billy Talent wrestling and
The
talk about
technical difficulties.
technical difficulties and curse you and but like for seriousness, no, it's like this is an awesome ride that we've both been on, because like this was just something that I thought of like what, New Year's?
Yeah, for like a New Year's resolution, like we should do a podcast together.
Yeah, it was a New Year's resolution that I had wanted to do, and we made it a reality. And like, this is just like a kind of like a dream come true. Like, this is like anybody's dream job.
Yeah, pretty much. But we're not gonna pay for
So
it. We're volunteers.
hey, at least we should be getting paid for it, but we haven't reached that higher echelon yet. But we'll get there in due time. So
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, when Bob Saget passed on the 9th. So around that time, we'll do a 1 year anniversary. We'll look back on 1 year with the podcast, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think we're gonna cut this episode now. So be sure to tune in this Sunday if you guys are AC/DC fans. Be sure to tune into the top 10 AC/DC video coming up. It is going to be difficult to record. It's gonna break my heart a little bit, but as always, if you guys stuck around to the very end, we greatly appreciate your support. Be sure to follow us on social media by clicking the link in the description below, which will take you to our link tree, which has everything you need, such as TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. You know the drill. So be sure to go follow us on social media. I'm gonna put at the end of this video, I'm gonna put just a random Van Halen video you guys can go watch. Because Van Halen's fucking amazing. Fucking yes. I love Van Halen. Anyways, yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you guys this Sunday. Peace.
peace.